Hi, New City family. We are just coming with you to you today, knowing of all of the um, news around COVID and the spike in cases, as well as our hospitals being stretched to the brink and our healthcare workers being exhausted. With our elders and our staff, we've been discussing kind of what approach we want to take as a New City family to do our part and help with all of this. And so we have decided to return to online only services, just virtual services, beginning this weekend. And so it's really been a lot of just hard thought and prayer going into this decision. And we know it's not an easy decision. But we think it's the right decision for us right now.
Yeah, we have seen through information that Cedar Rapids is a real hot spot right now, and so as churches, we have the right to continue to meet, but we feel we want to do the right thing and help slow this thing down as much as possible. And so our approach to this is not an indefinite approach, but we're going to approach it to begin with taking at least 3 weeks to meet only online. And our hope is to be able to be back together by Christmas time, because that is something that we all are looking forward to so much as churches, and we need. And so that's our hope here. And we just hope that all of us together can do what we need to do as best as we need to do it to be there for this community as well as for our churches in this community.
Yeah, and as Daniel said, it's not about infringing upon anybody's rights. I mean, we know that we have a right, together. We know that we could do those things, but it's more about uh, leading by example, by showing the love of Christ in a special way, saying that what is it that we can do to help out. And so I'm just reminded of just a real quick story of a little girl who was at her grandfather's funeral, and a guy came in and she recognized him as a very famous individual. And she asked, why was he there? And he said he was there for her grandfather because her grandfather had been there for her. He said, I know you're famous, but he's never spoke about you. He said, because he never made me to be a trophy of his. I didn't have to be a trophy that he had to put on the shelf, because he started his life out at the age of 15 being in juvenile detention more than a dozen times. And so her grandfather asked him one time, since you're so good at breaking the law, why don't you try to understand why there are laws? And so he went to law school, became a famous judge, and his grandfather never tooted his horn about leading him in that right direction, because he didn't infringe upon his life. He had the right to say, hey, I led this guy in this direction, but he didn't, because he didn't want to make a trophy out of him. And so we're saying that although we have these rights, we don't need to put them on the shelf and toot our horns about having these rights. What we need to do is show the love of Christ and say, what is it that we can do to help? And so that's what led us to our decisions.
And so, as we think about that, we know that, this decision will affect many people in many different ways. And if you've got questions or just and want to talk with someone about it, reach out to one of our elders. Any of us are open to discussing this with you. And as Daniel said, we're hoping that this is only a few weeks, that, if we could get help get the virus under control in our community, why wouldn't we do that? And so that's what we're going to try to do. And so if you've got questions, please reach out.
And we are working on a new approach to engage with one another. And we hope to have that available on Sunday, the 29th, when we begin our Advent season. And it's a way to engage through a virtual approach around the messages right after the sermon. And so we're working really hard on this next week, and we're going to do our part to do all we can to engage with you and to be a blessing to our community during this time. So we love you all.
Yeah, we love you all.
Love you.